and went independent and went back and did work with Focus. I was a consultant for Focus. Went there once a month, 3 days. It was heavenly. It was just right in my pocket as far as creatively, just perfect. And then in March of 2019, I'd been sick in the fall and was diagnosed with fairly serious some disorder. I don't know what it was. Susan and I went into the oncologist in March of 2019. The oncologist, she comes in, she's very serious look in her face. She goes, Mr. Bolte, I have to tell you that you don't have whatever it was that she said we had. But what you do have is acute myeloid leukemia. And I think she was expecting Susan and I to go, oh my God, cancer, what are we going to do? We just went, okay, so what do we do? But she's a little bit taken back. She said, well, we can admit you immediately and do old school drip chemo, or they just 3 months prior had approved oral pills chemo. I said, well, that's a no-brainer. I'll do oral chemo. And I said, but do I have other options? I said, could I do
transfusions, which we were already doing
some I said, could we just do that? She goes, oh yeah, you could do that, but you'd be dead in 2 months. Now that got my attention. That's when we realized, okay, this is really serious.
Oh, we're fighting a battle here.
Yeah. So went through that, and what happens is when you go through leukemia, if you have to have a stem cell transplant, which is what we had. They checked me in June. I was in the hospital like 5 days before it. They do like a scorched earth thing to your body where they kill everything in it. And then they put a port in, and then you have the transplant, which was kind of cool. We had all hospitals have chaplains. And this one was an African American lady, a very sweet lady. And she came in very sensitive, and she offered a prayer, which is very sweet. And then they uncork it. And you can actually see the cells. You can actually see like little flecks of pepper. You can actually see them go into your body. You don't feel anything, obviously. So I was in the hospital for a month, and then they let you out, and then you go through the hospital calls this. Then you go through what the hospital calls 100 days of hell, and it lives up to that motto. And you have to have somebody with you 24/7. So we had people from all over the U.S.
This is where the Continental family came in,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People flew in from
Janet. Not Janet.
Cheryl
Rampley, Cheryl, not Rampley,
Hume,
Hume,
Cheryl and David, Ken and Nancy,
Paul, Elizabeth, a bunch of
Monty and Krista.
And I remember everybody was here, but I don't remember a thing that happened. I don't remember the station.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that. But I've been fine ever since. I'm doing fine. I've been losing my voice, which is frustrating. But
so the last time we were talking, you talked a lot about the Continental family and coming around you in your cancer journey. But Continental has been a really close part of your family with your own children, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, we asked both of them their thoughts about what they remembered about Continentals. And Sage, our oldest, who's now 40, she turned 47. No, 46. 46.
Yeah.
Turned 46. Can you believe that? 46.
No.
Little girl, that little kid that you saw. 46. She laughed, and I'll read something. She says, growing up, Continental offered so many amazing experiences as a kid, mostly because I thought I was so important, everyone loved me. But seriously, I have such fun memories of going to rehearsal camp, go to performances, being with many of my childhood friends, which are all of our kids.
Yeah.
Who shared my love for music and dance and thought all this was totally normal. And I think that's the thing that you forget, is that we lived in such an unreal environment. We really did, with all the celebrities around us, all the other stuff. And our kids, that was just normal. That's just completely normal, which actually really shaped them beautifully, because they can function in any environment.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing that both of them said, why don't you tell them what they both said?
Well, I want to go back to, they both said, this was my family, that they saw so many of these people who they had known their whole lives, who were such an important part of their lives, and to see them as extended family, because our families didn't live close to us. Yeah. So they were the aunts and uncles that were around. But both of them said, one of the things that was always true is you never knew who was going to live with us for a while. We woke up in the morning and somebody was on our couch.
Wow.
We think all of the transitions from people leaving one of the year-round groups and then going on a summer tour or in between. Right. And
I've forgotten. I mean, we've had so many people that lived with us, and we were in that little. I don't know. You never saw. I don't think you ever saw our small house. There, 1,200 square foot,
No.
tiny. It was actually, I think it was 900 square feet. 3 bedroom, 1 bath. And you bump into a wall. You can vacuum the whole place with a, and not even extend the cord.
Yeah, right.
That's
It was super, super small. But we always
Yeah.
had people staying with us, and usually on the couch in the living room. And I know Taylor stayed with us. Who?
Oh my gosh, Janet
Oh
Croninger,
yeah,
Vicky DeBorchek,
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Custer,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it
everybody,
was just,
everybody. It was.
Dan Whitehead, I think, lived with us for several months because he was working at the office recruiting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just normal, right?
So that's what I always remember.
Sage was in Young Cons, right? Was Aaron as well?
Sage, Aaron was not. Aaron was on the cover of one of Steve Taylor's albums. She was rock guitar
Actually,
player.
it wasn't Steve's. It was either a Young Continentals album or something. But it was a kids rock album. A kids rock album. She was on the cover. She wasn't. But
And-
Sage did 2 tours with Young Cons.
With Young Cons.
And she said it was a great experience for her. Really a great experience for her.
You were with Continental 16 years. How did you see Christian music in general and church music change over that period of time?
Yeah, well, you could answer that question. It was astounding that was from 72 to 88. I was there, and during that time, when we started in 1972 in Jeremiah People, we knew if we were going to certain churches what was going to happen. For instance, if we went to a Baptist church, we knew all the guys would be outside smoking just prior to the concert, and then they'd come in and watch the concert. If we went to a Nazarene church, we knew we'd do music and comedy and drama, hilarious stuff. Nobody would laugh, nobody would applaud, but they loved it. They always would come up, hug us, and tolerate. But you'd have this big hilarious line, and people would hear a little twitter, and then people are looking at each other, going, "Can we laugh? Can we laugh?" And that, I mean, you think of how that's changed. It completely changed, and music itself has gone from. It was pretty. I mean, the music that we did, I did and produced. It's pretty lame. I wouldn't say the stuff you guys. I mean, when Wings came along, that was when things started to really progress.
Yeah.
Early New Hope, Wings, and stuff.
Wings
really harmonically and stuff. Musically was really, really good, and the sophistication level then just increased exponentially from that time forward.
I think, we talk to friends. I have friends who aren't currently in the church, but were a part of youth groups when they were kids. And the Continental's influence on touring youth groups, the influence of music in bringing kids together in local churches. And I think Continental's modeled that as a way to really both attract local youth as well as provide that spiritual power behind coming together to do something meaningful.
Yeah, it's such a shame that's gone and will never, I don't think, ever come back. The touring groups and
powerful.
Yeah.
Really powerful.
The first thing that comes to mind for memorable is not something related to on the stage or off the stage. I mean, there were tons of memorable, really meaningful, deep and meaningful things, especially with Portraits of a Family. There were just incredible moments there, families coming forward and reconciliation, very emotional, really great. But the first thing that comes to mind was my first year on tour, 1972, in the fall. We're in our van and we're driving from Skagway, Alaska, up to Whitehorse, which is in the Yukon. We're driving all day, all night. We get to Yukon about midnight. They have people set up to meet us, not just houses, just to meet us and feed us at midnight. Then we're driving from Yukon all the way to Fairbanks. We take off at about 2 a.m. We're in the middle of nowhere, middle of stinking nowhere. And all of a sudden I saw this kind of green shimmer in the sky. And the aurora came out, and it came out not just as a green shimmering waving thing like you see, it exploded in colors that actually gave the illusion of swooping down through the barren birch trees. It was, you had no digital cameras, and we just pulled over with our mouths open for about 10 minutes. This went on. It was unbelievable. I will never, ever forget that moment.
What a gift.
It was that there were so many things like that you could never have programmed or whatever that happened. That's the road experience. You had it with Intermission, you had it with Continentals. It just happens. And you always cherish it, always cherish it.
I was thinking about memorable experiences, and again, concerts always, to be able to see people come to Christ, to see the power of the surprise of a musical group coming into a small town
Yeah,
and being a big deal.
it was a
And
huge deal.
the pleasure of meeting people and their generosity and graciousness around that. But the two things I think of in our world today and realize what a privilege it was. We were in Berlin. It would have been probably in 73, I think, and watching
70.
the Berlin Wall and seeing the guards and the recognition, both in talking with people, of our freedom as Americans, and the reality of the many people who did not have that freedom. And similarly, in 1970, we were at the DMZ in Korea, at Panmunjom, and that same sense again of how privileged I was to grow up in a place where there was freedom that I took for granted.
Yeah.
And I think
And everybody still does.
of being on tour as a young person and having that kind of impact.
Have you ever wished you could gift your life-changing Continental experience to someone else? Well, you can. Your monthly giving can make a huge impact for our teams all over the world. Did you know that this year, we'll have more than 20 Continental groups on the road, communicating in 7 different languages? The Continental story goes on, so keep writing your part of it by being on our support team. And our groups will say thank you in 7 different languages.